Welcome back to another Reading and Correcting with me, Kindar, the Tigerite, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today, we are doing chapter 91 of Stepping Wild. Tibs sensed the water. Tibs sensed the water. The water essence manifest. Tibs changed direction. When he sensed the water manifest on the transportation platform. He'd planned on wandering the markets, on resting from all the reading that had provided him with nothing of use. The kingdom had a surprising lack of dangerous areas based on the books. The essence was so dense, even before it was fully there, it could only be one person. Tibbs was unsure how he felt, but he could justify checking in on Alistair's arrival by being curious why he did so this early. Or was it early for his old teacher? It had been decades since Tibbs had traveled by platform, and it was easy to forget how time shifted when using it. He'd read that time wasn't the same in every kingdom, but the explanations were incomprehensible to him. Of course, the sun moved in the sky. That was what made a day, but how did that mean it didn't move the same way in other places? It was always in the same place in the sky at noon or at sunrise and sunset. Too many scholars said the same thing for him to dismiss them outright as one of those things they thought was true when it clearly wasn't, and he needed to keep in mind the elements. They didn't act on the world, but they influenced it through the essence being part of everything. Maybe Void did something that changed the orders of event. After all, only those who had that element could see things out of order. Except that tended to cause them to lose their mind. Wouldn't it cause something similar to everyone traveling on the platform if Void shifted time around? Alistair ignored the booze, heading for the university. The guard at the entrance stopped his old teacher, and Tibbs used air etching to bring their words to him. Isn't here at the moment, the guard said. When will she be back? Alistair sounded annoyed. She's usually here with the zenith. Alistair looked up. Sun was barely 2 fingers above the wall. Tell her the guild agreed to her gift. I'll be back at sundown to take possession of it. He turned the way he came. Tibbs followed him until the first market, where he returned to his wandering. There you are, Charlie said, hand on Tibbs's table, panting. I need your help. Tibbs now wore an oiled cloak in preparation for the rain the darkening sky promised. It stood for an early meal. He'd stopped. He'd stopped for an early meal and was surprised the man had found him. I'm not working with you. He kept his tone neutral. I'm not doing anything other than my research. Charlie looked around and lowered his voice. If I wasn't desperate, I wouldn't be here. Please, Thibault, we need your help. We are in trouble. He wanted to say no. This wasn't someone, an old acquaintance, just showed up to after agreeing to stay away and ask for help. You're up this temple. But the desperation was plain in his eyes, and there was barely any glow on the words. What happened? He at least owed him to listen. Not here. Come with me. He started to protest, but he already agreed to listen. Outside, wind shoved them, and the rain that had been promised when he entered slammed into him. He let it and didn't complain, the way Charlie did. Thunder rumbled. A dozen heartbeats later, lightning flashed in the distance. The storm was only starting. They left water on the floor as they crossed the house, and Tibbs noted one of Charlie's team was missing when they entered the room they were assembled in. He's going to help? The leaner of the two women asked. I said he would. didn't bother glaring. If he didn't like what he heard, he'd leave and reveal him to be a liar. Where's your rogue? The look they exchanged told him why Charlie had brought him. Now he glared. Renard went and got himself caught by the guards, the muscled woman said. After I told him not to do anything stupid, the lean woman added. She was the smart one of the group, or so he thought Charlie had said. Get yourself another rogue. She leveled a gaze on him, a different one. She raised an eyebrow at Charlie. We don't have the time, the man said. We only have 2 days to get it. Tell them you need more time. She isn't someone you go back to and say you aren't doing what you agreed to, the muscular woman said. And Charlie looked away. What? He sighed. You already have access to the university. Tibs ground his teeth, looking them over. Was this always the plan? To get me to help you? No, Charlie protested, and the hint of light on the word made Tibs think the man had hoped to bring him in, even if it hadn't been part of the plan. Charlie said you were out. No light on her word. Renard had the contact there, but he didn't tell us who. If we had time, we'd find someone. But as Janine said, our boss for this doesn't take changes of plan well. Charlie still wasn't going to do anything until I pointed out it's asking you or dealing with the killers she'll send after us for failing her. He said you're the best he's worked with. Pointing out he was the only rogue Charlie had worked with, other than the one on this team, wouldn't help. What are you after? So long as it wasn't something the university stored as too important, the security would be light. Just a spear they have on display. The Corbin spear? He asked because it was just how things had to go with 5 people on the team. The stunned surprise made him groan. You don't have 2 days. A guild representative is coming at sunset to take it. How do you know? Oh, Janine asked. We were told 2 days. I overheard him tell the guard this morning when he found out the woman he's dealing with wasn't in. The case had a simple lock without a weave. The room saw little traffic, and the scholars there were focused on the items they studied more than what happened around them. So long as it hadn't been moved, and at this point you wouldn't be surprised if it had, this would be quick. Do you have a fake to put in its place? This was a smash and grab. He questioned how smart she was, woman said. He looked at Charlie. This is all we have to work with, Thibault. I don't have a theater to make me all the fakes I need, or know someone here for papers. Renard was going to have someone sneak him in. He'd grab it and run really fast. He's really fast. We were going to meet, then we were out of the city before they had time to organize. And how are you dealing with them chasing you? The university gets favors for what they give the guild. He locked eyes with the man. The Adventurers Guild. We have our escape route set. The muscular man said. He unrolled a crude map. These are smugglers' route. Hardly anyone knows about them, and if they don't know the symbols, they can't follow them. He tapped lines on the drawings. One had a bird and a turtle, which diverged. There was one with a wolf's head, and another that might be a boar. We take them and we disappear. Except the wolf trail, Janine said, I am not going through there again. Charlie shrugged when Tibs glanced at him. Lots of stories about that one. Roaming things on it, but we didn't come across anything on the way here when we followed it. That's because a lot of you slept so deep the abyss could take you and you wouldn't wake up until you were gone. She shuddered. I heard things, saw things. No light on her words. It only meant she believed what she saw. She could still have imagined it, but it was more than he'd found in the books. I want the map. He didn't know why. There hadn't been stories of those trails. As unknown as they might be now, they would have been a time when many people knew about them. We need it, the muscled man said. Then make me a copy. Thibault, he glared at Charlie. I'm going to have to run too, and I'm not prepared. I'm going to do better than smashing and running, but someone is going to notice it's gone. I came here by caravan, was going to leave the same way when I was ready. I don't know these secret trails, so I need that map. And no, I'm not going with you. I'm making my own way. You tell me where to meet, you over the map, and I hand over the spear. Then we go our separate ways. Charlie searched Tibbs's face, then nodded. Charlie, the muscular man started. What's the alternative, Maroc? We need him. We wouldn't even know we're out of time if not for him. We have however long it takes, Thibault, to get it, to find someone who can make us a decent copy. You work that one out. You work that out, Tibbs said as he could see protest forming. Where do I meet you? Charlie told him of the house, where and the marks of the house and the marks that would tell him which one they'd be in, and he left. This time, he didn't let the wind and rain bother him. There was hardly anyone out, and it was already dark enough the rain could stop. It was already dark enough the rain could stop, and still no one would see him. The thunder was louder, and the lightning followed 6 heartbeats later. With proper timing, the storm would keep anyone from chasing him. The oiled cloak hid his clothing, so that would add to the difficulty in identifying him. He let the rain pummel him once he passed the last intersection before the university. He shouldered the door open over the guard's protest. He counted on her not being allowed to leave her post, even with this rain, and an understanding no one wanted to stay in that storm to avoid pursuit. He sped the water dripping off him so that when he entered the display room he was dry. It was deserted, with only the forgotten lamps on some tables providing barely enough light for someone to walk through. There were more on the walls and columns, but during the day the sun provided most of it. Most of the light. Most of the light. No one was approaching the room when he reached the case. The thunder was muffled by the thick stone, and the flashes of lightning revealed him as he used essence to unlock him. Unlock him? To unlock it. Took the spear and wrapped it in his cloak, then wrapped that in an etching of darkness layered on top of another. An etching of darkness layered atop one another. Darkness worked better when people could explain away what they thought they'd noticed. This still looked like nothing more than a long item wrapped in a cloak. He missed suffusing himself. He had it out. The etching frayed as soon as the rain pummeled him, hard enough that even once he kept it away, his mind echoed from it. Lightning followed thunder by 4 heartbeats. His calculation of how close the storm would come to the city were interrupted by the void and the rain entering his sense with dense water essence at its center. Sunset! He was supposed to come at sunset! Might be dark enough to be the middle of the night, but it couldn't be close to sunset yet. He ran. He detoured far around Alistair. He had no idea what his teacher's range was, but he figured that if he couldn't sense his old teacher, he couldn't sense him either. Couldn't sense Tibs either. It meant that by the time he sensed Charlie and his team, it could be sunset, with how long it took. 2 heartbeats separated thunder and lightning now. It stretched to 3 by the time he shouldered the door open and slammed it close. He leaned against it, catching his breath and ignoring the swords pointed at him. He rubbed his temples, still feeling like the rain was pummeling him. He pushed away and placed the spear on the table. Where's the map? Maroc placed it down. And Tibs unrolled it. It was the one they'd showed him. We have our copy. The man tapped the leather tube resting against the table before opening it and putting the spear in. before opening and putting the spear in it. He sends more papers. How do I identify the trails? They're going to have to search in the underbrush for the first one, Charlie said. It's a stone marker planted in the ground, and it'll have the trail symbol on it, pointing in the next one's direction. They're roughly 300 paces apart. Asking Janine where she'd heard the sound would make this search faster, but that would tell Charlie which route he'd take. He rolled the map. Then He froze. How had he missed this until now? Looked at He looked at the door, the void in the rain, with the denser water essence at its center moving toward the house. Did Alistair have a way to mask himself? Every element could recreate the effect of the others with the correct use of arcanus had been one of his old teacher's lesson. You need to run. Far enough, they had time. What's going on? Janine stood, drawing her sword. They found us. You have to leave now. How? Marok slung the leather tube over his shoulder. Were you followed? Must have. Better that than they realize the truth. Get out, lose yourself in the storm. What about you? Charlie asked. I'll hold them back. Are you crazy? The smart woman, Lydia, asked. Come with us, Charlie said. I can deal with guards easily, but Alistair? Get out of here before they reach the house. It looked like Charlie would implore him again. Then he rushed the others to the other side. He wanted to follow, run away from Alistair. He doubted he'd fare well against his old teacher, but he had to keep him busy long enough for the others to escape. He rolled the map and secured it inside his clothing. He should have known this would turn bad, he readied himself. The team had been 5 people. He ran out the door and toward Alistair. And that concludes chapter 91 of Stepping Wild. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is available for free on Royal Road. If you want to read ahead of that and support me in the process, we're about 20 chapters ahead. That is on Ream Story. And if you are looking to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.